Hello everyone, my name is Boris, and today I'm doing a overview of Marcel. I noticed him have a quite interesting endgame board state, therefore I was interested to see how he arrived there and see what I can learn along the way. We are playing in the Prismatic Party, therefore we can expect other players to have also very strong boards and the endgame board states to be very high in combat power. We pick up a Shen pair, but as we checked, the Ionia is bad with the blades. Ideally we would want to play around the Ionia when we have either XP or the gold generating one, especially in encounters such as Prismatic Party where the endgame boards are going to be very strong. We do see now an Echo here, and they're going to do a scout around to see if we can potentially play around that. We have a Bruiser also to pair with our Shen. There seems to be one Echo player, and ideally would want to both be able to play around it. To get a 2-3 cost drop, and Ari would be great if it was another Ionia, perhaps the stacking one, but we do just opt to sell for 10, as we do not have the very strong board to play around right now, only with the Gargoyle Slam. As such, we go and see that we have Lucky Gloves and Radiant Relics. Those would be two augments that we would want to play around when we have a stronger opener. Therefore, I would be defaulting Prismatic Destiny here for now. Same goes with Spells of War, we would want a strong board to do so. See World Runes, and we were offered level up, which would again require us to have a stronger board to play around, and World Runes being very strong augment already before the emblem buffs, now is, I would say, even stronger. And the emblems we got offered are Ishtal and Noxus. Fortunately we have a Kiana already, so we would not have to high roll a Milio. We're just gonna opt here for our lose streak, since when playing around World Runes we would generally not be having the strongest of the boards, so we're just trying to maximize our econ. And we do pick up a Nico here as well, which are going to allow us to slot in Ishtal right away. We're going to do a scout around, but from the options offered here, we want to complete these quests as fast as we possibly can. And for me, the only one seems to be to lose 3-player combats in a row, especially since we're already on a loss streak and our plan is to loss streak. This would work out greatly. Kiana is going to get takedowns, and rerolling shops would just completely nuke our econ. Another thing to note about the World Runes, well, the top players are generally practicing and able to figure this out along the games, and that's the best way to go. I'm going to pause here. There is someone has made a World Runes solver. I'm going to drop the link in the description as well, where you can enter the emblems you're offered. So if you select Ishtal and Noxus, we are able to see all the boards that are going to be able to unlock it, and we can also toggle the unlockable units here. And the options are very, very many, and we will see on which one we land. There's no reason to memorize these. If you're playing from home, you can have them around, but still, for the best practice, I would recommend to see if you can figure this out on your own, especially these pros that will have to be able to play in tournaments. And Marcel being a Worlds player where you're not allowed any third-party websites, he will need to be knowing this. It looks like we're just going to open here because there is a player that we are worried about, and we do definitely want to secure our loss streak. And I assume the players have scouted around and noticed that he does have this lose 3-player combat, and we are locked into playing 3 units. Hence, if someone just full opens on us, our day is going to be ruined. Coming up on the carousel, there is a Spat, so we might want to grab that one. Yeah, because Spat is going to open for us a possibility to play for 10 Noxus, and we know that the World Runes cash out is going to be a Tactician's Crown. Hence, we would be able to slot in 10 Noxus right away, and if I'm not mistaken, there is also an Ishtal cash out at a chance to obtain a Fawn. Now, we're still seems to be slightly worried about, I believe this was this player, it's Rain, as this is being played also on the High Challenger NA, you might recognize the player. I'm going to hold on to the Scion now. We do want to keep it, as we saw in the preview that I showed you of the World Rune Solver, Scion was the core of all these options. Coming up here, alternating combats, we are unable to guarantee it, and we do not have any way to reach armor, so it feels like to just take 6 interest, and we're able to complete this also in a couple of turns as PvE rounds count. As in general, with these quests, you do want to complete them as soon as you possibly can. Now we are facing worth the wait Nico player who has already unlocked a Nidalee on 2-6. With a full streak, they are going to be quite strong. It's an augment that I've definitely myself have been underplaying. You can low roll it, however it feels like it does give you some direction when you lack it. We have a Targon to pick up. With World Runes generally you wish to play at least one Targon unit. And then for the splashes you want to see if you can splash in something like a Pilt-over or a Void, as those are 2 unit splashes that are quite easy to fit in. And I would assume that we are looking to level on 6 to see, and perhaps even roll to see if we can get in our 4 regions. Now, fielding a 2-star Nico, as we saw, doesn't mean I'm gonna find it. Buying 20 XP is gonna cost us gold, and it's a little on the lower side, and we're now not sure if we're going to be able to complete the quest. Therefore, we just go for loose player for combats, as we have sufficient HP. We're going to be quite low afterwards, but should be able to do it. We pick up a Vi that's going to allow us to unlock the Pilt-over, and with the extra emblem, we quite easily, without having to roll further, are able to slot in our 4 regions. Otherwise, we would probably have been looking for something like either a Cho or a Briar. Or we could also unlock LeBlanc, but be delayed. Now, we rolled already Luxury Subscription, as that's not fitting in our game plan. Lucky Gloves would again require us to be able to play around a stronger board right now, and we do not have any free gloves. Plus, the Augment seems to be a little undertuned behind in the current meta. Pandora's items we would want to be able to capitalize on the Radiant quite early, and the higher tier players are able to generally navigate an Augment item advantage quite well and their components. Plus we have extra items from the emblems, and we know the cash out is going to give us even more emblems. Therefore I would default the bound of these that we've done so as now. Siege-Old Lotus, which is a quite strong combat augment and would synergize well with our item situation. And yeah, we're just going to opt for that. Celestial Blessing is not exactly fitting into the game plan. Going to be slotting in a Draven over the Scion, as perhaps he could print us a little bit extra more gold. As once we cash out, we are going to need to stabilize very, very hard. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see ourselves sending it all the way to 0. Plus, we do not have a guarantee of getting a Brock. We do get a Scion 2 here now, but we're just going to hold on to it for now, probably. Now, at this point, no one should be contesting our loss streak. We are positioning in the way to be able to just focus fire at least 1 or 2 units. As any HP we can preserve at this point is going to be quite useful. As we're 37 now, that's going to lead us hopefully to 3 lives. And I assume that's the plan we're trying to go for here. Coming up in the carousel, we're just going to grab the Ambassador right away. Going to ensure that we can get to 7 Noxus and perhaps allow us to play for an early Mel unlock. And with Mel unlocked, we might be able to even farm a Radiant item as well. And we have mapped out the Noxus tree. We are 1 turn away, I believe, from cashing out our World Runes, and we're soon to be able to cash out our Ishtal as well to see the next quest. I also have to note that unfortunately the quality of this mod was limited to only 720p. It's a Twitch thing, there was nothing I could do about it. But it should not stop us from being able to learn something. Now, we cashed out, but we saw the quests. We instantly took the buy XP quest because that's again the one that makes most sense here. Kiana's not going to score takedowns, and blocking 4000 damage with unupgraded frontline is not going to be great. We can immediately complete the XP quest, especially as we're sitting quite a lot of gold. And our plan is still to go 8. Sacrificing 1 interest for that is of no matter. And yeah, we should be 2 lives here. We would ideally seek to win this fight if we can. However, we are facing 3-item Ambessa and also with a Belvet. We just do not have the damage to be able to sustain from it. Okay, we are at 16. Which is quite fine, I believe. It should be still 2 lives, at least until stage 6. Have cashed out, and the cash out has given us another fawn. Therefore, if we are able to get Ambessa 2 and unlock LeBlanc from tossing an item on a Scion, we should be able to slot in 10 Noxus. The quest we picked was to have no items on the bench, since at this point we just want to slam everything we got. We don't want any floating components. And our emblem cash out was a Pilt-over and a Ionia one. Perhaps we could play around the Ionia. We have 2 Noxus emblems, so we could do something like a Wukong in a set. Perhaps. We'll see what we get to it. We have not slammed our items just yet. And again, we went through our Augment choices very fast. Because, yeah, okay. Radiant Rascal Gloves would be nice, but we again have quite a few items. Soul Awakening is a very strong combat augment, but we already have one. And the reason we just immediately go for Sweet Treats is here, because we have so many items with the extra phones, with the extra emblems. The extra HP we're going to get from this is going to be great, and we can potentially find artifacts that is going to be strong, and we can use all the kinds of artifacts. We have open tank slots, we have open AD slots, we have open AP slots. We're just going to go for it right away and have a very nice HP buffer on our team right away. We do pick up a Prowler's Claw, which is going to synergize with our Jeweled Lotus. Now, these turns are very complicated. That was the reason why we hadn't fully slammed before. As we can see, we're going to start sorting out our utility here. And I believe that we are just not also either worried about the Ishtal cash out right now. Nice that we're keeping around the Vi. Yeah, we've fully transitioned out of Ishtal, so we haven't even... The quest consideration before wasn't even worth a while. Hopefully we should... Okay, we've picked up a Swain too. Now, we are lacking slightly on the damage department, and unfortunately we're still sitting on the single Ambessa we picked up from the carousel. Therefore, I would be a little worried about our damage right now. However, the board should not be extremely strong to queue into a Bilgewater player. It seems to be 7 Bilge, so I assume they're still scaling. We just believe in this rock, and the Arcane at 7 Arcane Noxus is going to be enough to provide us the damage. It's surprising to see this Brock 1 do so much. And if there's no single target threat that gets onto it, it should be quite fine in stage 2. Afterwards, we would want to have some kind of survivability on the Brock, as Brock 1 becomes somewhat fragile. We do pick up a belt here, which I would believe would transition into Morello, since Mel can spread it quite well, and we do want to sort out that anti-heal. Still no Ambessa 2, which is slightly unfortunate. It's also neat to see how the Pilt-over mod, the damage one we picked, synergizes well with Brock, since he has that global ult. And also we have the dashing Brock through the Prowler scroll. And yeah, we already can see someone in chat type out that Marcel does have 10 Noxus on level 8 with a double fawn. We're just positioning in a way to ensure that we unlock on our Ambessa and do not waste a turn. You sometimes can get the Ambessa to die on the PvE round if you position away like this. But however, it's not very consistent and it's very close, especially if you have damage dealer like a Brock. She might not die. And we just believe in the rest of our board to be capable enough. Gonna unlock the Mel, going to hit 10 Noxus. However, the joke with the Noxus is Your board needs to survive. We have 10 units right now. However, if you do not make it to like it was the 15-second mark or something, the Arakan does not spawn in and you can lose. And given that some of these fights against like the Ziggs Rise boards are very fast paced, we have to see. Thankfully enough, we have the upgrades on our frontline units. I'm going to just... We have a spare Warmogs here, or we might make a... Striker's Fell with the Jeweled Lotus we have should be quite neat, and we do not seem to lack the frontline items. But I believe that this is going to be a win out from here. Let's see if there's someone who could pose an actual threat, as again, 10 Noxus seems to be the weaker of the prismatic traits. Just going to slot the Ionian, I'm gonna reforge it, alright. We do get Arcanist Emblem, which is quite neat. And it's gonna synergize with our Swain. Still debating what we want to do with the rest of our components. But yeah, once this Arakan now spawns in, having pretty much a global ult, and there comes the big suck that it does. It's gonna wipe the whole board. I don't think we should have anyone who would be able to stop us at this point. Still just messing around with items to see if there's something we can make. Do end up going for the Striker's Flare in the end. Just gonna cruise our way to level 10 here, probably level 9 here probably now, to see if we can 2-star our Brock and Mel. There are some strong boards, and if I'm not mistaken, there was a Baron there that could pose a threat. There is someone going for Kindred 3 as well. So it's not quite over yet. We might have to play a little bit of defense to be able to deny the rest of the lobby. Have picked up a BT. Just gonna roll down. As we saw, he was interested in playing around a Kindred. Yeah, gonna slot that BT on the Brock now that we have an extra slot that we can move the Noxus emblem off. Now we're facing a Baron 2 with also a very interesting board. They have managed to arrive to Ishtal cash out. And if this person manages to spike very hard, they might be able to quill a lot of our board before the big suck comes in from the Arakan. Now they are level 10, however they seem to be 1 life. The rest of the boards I wouldn't be so concerned about. This is another bilge player who have managed to get to their 2-star, 5 costs already. However, once the Arakan gets in there, this is a no questions asked situation. Already in the top 3, so the lobby tempo, as noted, has been very high in this prismatic lobby. And it seems that the person is going for a potential Baron 3 as they see that as their win out. Did not get a catch of their gold count. But we cannot deny it, so if they get there, they get there. However, they seem to be a little lower on the gold side, as we're not as concerned. We're just going to chill here. Not even considering rolling for Brock 2, as we believe to be strong enough without it. Get a ghost fight here that we're going to be able to complete it up, and this should be last 2 fights coming up right now as well already. And I believe that the last person is probably going to start selling their board to go for the Baron 3. They do not seem to find a Baron 2. We just sell our Brock to make sure that they get even more units in their pool. They do not seem to get there, and they just FF. Yeah, a most masterfully piloted World Runes game from Marcel, immediately being able to recognize in the first carousel that if we pick up an emblem here, we're going to be getting an extra phone. We can play for that prismatic trait bailout around our Noxus. The same goes, we could consider something for as a Demacia or Bilgewater once you get those. And then very well recovered on the roll down to stabilize the board and be able to end the game on a prismatic. I hope that you enjoyed watching the video and learned something along the way, just as like I did, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.